This looks like a pretty standard Touhou fan game, right? Well, would you believe me if I said that... Oh, I know you saw the title and thumbnail. Yeah, this fan game was designed to be played on phones that looked like this. Good old Java phone games. In an era before smartphones, games on phones were mainly designed with Java in mind. While there were definitely some cool ones to come out of it, I mainly remember playing small games like Breakout on my dad's phone. But in the world of Touhou, with its encouragement of derivative works, fans seem to always go above and beyond, and this time is no different. This is Touhou Shinmadan. It's a full Touhou shmup made for Java phones that was released in 2010. It was made by a team of people who go by K, BB, Nuon, and DHI. No, I am not joking. That's how they're listed in the credits. It features Reimu and Marissa paired with Yukari and Patchy as they tackle a full 6 stages, 6 bosses, an extra stage, and an extra boss. There's no replay system, but that's kind of the only compromise. This is a full Touhou game playable on a phone, and with context, it's pretty damn great. I'll note right away that I played this game on an emulator, so what I experienced may not be fully representative of how the game plays on actual hardware. That's also why this footage is so crusty. I had to, zoom in. There's not much you can do. So first, presentation. This game looks pretty nice. You've got the standard Touhou colorful bullets, all the enemies you'd come to expect, and some very nice backgrounds. These are about on par with Touhou 7 era backgrounds, I'd say, which, for a Java phone, is not bad at all. Slowdown did happen, but not as a constant thing that got in the way of gameplay. It was more so when I used a bomb against a ton of bullets, and even then, it took a lot of bullets. The character roster in this game is all returning characters, but you have a good mix. Cherno, Kogasa, and Aya for stages 1, 2, and 3 already represent 3 different games. Near the end, there's even some faces from PC98. There's a full story with dialogue and ending portraits too, but since my Japanese isn't the best, I skipped through these. But the most impressive part of the presentation to me is the music. The songs in this game are not just MIDI ports, they are full-on remixes of classic Touhou songs. Stage 1's theme is a remix of Dream Express from Touhou 5, but instead it's stylized to sound like the end of spring from Touhou 12. Stage 5's theme is a groovy remix of Makai City Esoteria. These remixes are all high quality, and fit the MIDI format well. This led me down a rabbit hole to find out more about the composer of the game, DHI. And what do you know? They're pretty prolific. DHI composed the music for Touhou fan-made Virtual Autography, a pretty recent fan game and one of my personal favorites. So, the sound was in great hands. That being said, I recommend playing this game with sound effects muted. They aren't unpleasant to listen to, but the music can start to stutter after an overload of certain sounds, which I don't have footage of because recording this game was a pain. More on that later. So presentation's good, and gameplay's also good. Wow! As mentioned before, you've got the content of a standard Touhou game, so there's plenty to do. You also have 4 shot types between Reimu and Marissa, so there's replayability in addition to scoring. There's even 2 difficulties. The game tends to be easier than most standard Touhou games, but since the phone screens were so small, I think this was a smart choice. Dodging bullets is nice, and the game's very responsive. I felt in control the entire time. Patterns are also neat. You have translations of things like Reimu's PC98 Yin Yang balls, or a card in the spirit of Aya's survival spell from Touhou 10. No stage or boss goes on for too long either, so pacing is solid. There's also a lot of smart design decisions to make the game work on a phone. Instead of holding down shoot and slow keys, the player toggles them on and off. So, you wouldn't have been destroying your keypad. Resources are also simplified. power bombing is back from Touhou 11, and extra lives are gained from getting 5 health pickups. Most dramatically though, this game has auto bombing built in. If you're hit while you still have power, you can choose to either use your standard bomb by hitting the bomb key, or do a special defensive bomb that gets rid of every bullet. Because you get 3 power back on death, this will never really put you at a disadvantage. Both types of bombs also give you a ton of iframes. Again, because you were playing on this, I think expecting the player to reaction bomb would have been a bit much, so this system works out well. But yeah, that's Touhou Shinmadan. Without the context of the Java phone, this is a pretty good, albeit easy, Touhou fan game. But within the context of Java phones, this is probably one of the best Java phone games ever designed. Which, to be fair, this game did release after the first iPhone came out, but still. Presentation is good, the music's fantastic, and the gameplay has a lot of smart design choices. And of course, the game's fun. But the video title mentions games. So yeah, there's another one. Touhou Fuyakuhina is a one-stage spin-off game starring Hina. As far as I can tell, this game was a solo effort by Kei, the programmer of the last game. The music in this one isn't as good as Shinmadan. You can hear the phone struggle to try to emulate Rain. But the game still looks nice. And it's Hina. She's rarely playable in anything. The game plays like a version of Great Fairy Wars, with the power bombing system being used in place of motivation. You charge attacks to clear bullets and defeat enemies, and get power to avoid death from it. There's not much else to say. It's a pretty simple game with only one stage and a boss, but it's cool that it exists. Plus, this game has replays. That's crazy. Well, I had to record this section after everything else because right before I finished editing, I found a third Touhou Java fan game. This is Touhou Bunkachou Mobile. It's an adaptation of Shoot the Bullet to phones and stars Aya. Like the other photo games, you take pictures in boss arenas. This game reuses music from Shinmadan, so nothing to talk about there. The scene game system actually works really well on a phone. Picking up and playing for a few patterns conceptually is really nice. But I think there's only 12 patterns. They are pretty fun though. And as a bonus, this game also has Rumia and Mistia, 2 characters not in any of the other games. There's not much else to say about this one either, but wow. I can't believe there are 3 of these. And that's Touhou on Java. Now for the important question. How do you play these games? Well, these were freeware, so we're free to share them. There's an archive with these games and several more non-Touhou games available. I'll have instructions on how to download the game files in the description. But then there's the emulation. Getting this to run on a Windows machine was a bit involved. I needed yet another Java version, an SDK with an emulator, to use Locale Emulator, and a third-party program ran through Locale Emulator to get the games running. And even then, I still had issues. Remember how I said I had trouble recording sound? Yeah, the SDK is a bit finicky. But there is a Google Doc tutorial, and the process isn't hard. It just takes a while. I'll have a link to the archive and the doc tutorial in the description. I have one more exciting thing to share, but before that, I wanted to leave some concluding thoughts. I am not a Java phone kid. I only played on my parents' phones when I was 4. My main childhood device was an iPod Touch with Angry Birds. But it's still cool to see what Java phone culture was like. These 3 games were done out of love and passion, and it wasn't just for Touhou. It was also for this form of technology as a whole. There's a community dedicated to preserving these old phone games, and I wish them nothing but the best. I'm very proud that Touhou got to leave a mark on Java phone history. Okay, that last thing though. I mentioned that the music of Touhou Shinmadan is really good, right? Well, I'm happy to say that I have the entire soundtrack uploaded to another channel, as well as some gameplay footage to go with it. I'll have a link to that as well. But before you go, thanks for watching. If you haven't, sub if you wanna, since I'm like redirecting you to a different channel after this. Okay, bye.